than 4 billion people live across Asia, and we are telling their stories. In this edition, with China's support, Kazakhstan looks set to become a leader in the transition to green energy in Central Asia. Today, Turkmenistan's centuries-old connection to China is powering a new wave of innovation, from telecommunications to transport. As a strategically important partner in China's Belt and Road Initiative, Tajikistan has been benefiting from an influx of Chinese investment.
Kazakhstan boasts a wide variety of remarkable natural landscapes, from lakes to mountains to deserts. Since its independence from the Soviet Union in 1991, the country has proudly developed into Central Asia's largest economy. However, much of that wealth stems from industry that has long been powered by abundant and inexpensive coal, making Kazakhstan the largest emitter of carbon dioxide in the region, releasing 70% more CO2 to generate its GDP than the global average. At the same time, the country is also reliant on inexpensive electricity imports, as its old Soviet-built energy infrastructure struggles to keep up with growing demand. Something had to be done. So with the support of China, Kazakhstan is now developing its rich renewable energy potential to become the leader in green energy transition across Central Asia. Since 2020, Kazakh native Burak Kumentila has been working for the Chinese renewable energy experts Universal Energy. It takes Burak a little over an hour to drive from his home in Kazakhstan's largest city, Almaty, to work at the Kapchagay Solar Park, one of the largest single photovoltaic power plants in the region. The Kapchagay Solar Park is one of 10 Universal Energy renewable energy projects in Kazakhstan, totaling 630 megawatts in capacity.
So tell me a little bit about this solar park. I mean, how many panels are there? It seems to extend quite far. And how much energy does it generate?
The total amount of the panels is 300,000, which are constructed in an area of 250 hectares. And they generate yearly, or you say annually, around 140 million kilowatts.
Now, is that energy used predominantly here in this region of Kazakhstan, or do you export it, say, to other Stan countries?
So it's 100% used in Kazakhstan, in this region, because we are connected to the national grid, and all of the production is delivered to them. The total amount of renewable energy productions in Kazakhstan has grown from around 4% to 8% right now in a time frame of around 5 years, and there is still a lot of projects to come.
Here in southern Kazakhstan, there is between 2,000 to 3,000 hours of sunlight per year, providing a potential of 2.5 billion megawatt hours in energy production annually. Yet so far, Kazakhstan has only tapped into less than 2% of that. But Astana has been working closely with China, the largest global market for photovoltaics, to help improve that.
China is definitely helping Kazakhstan to reach its target of net zero by investing, not only financially but also technologically, because there are some new technology which we as local people might not know or might have heard of, but do not know how to implement. And then the Chinese companies just come here, they invest in projects, in people, they train everybody. So now we have some good specialists in this renewable energy area.
In addition to developing solar parks, Burak says the renewable energy trends are leaning towards wind. Zantas is a small town in Kazakhstan's southern Jambil region, some 750 kilometers west of Kapchagay. This area is rich in raw minerals such as phosphorite, fluorspar, and coal, but also wind.
Бізде Жаңатастың қаласында жел үнемі соғады. Мен Әбілғазиев Мақсат, Байжанұлы. Осы Жаңатас қаласының тумасымын, 1990 жылы туылғам. Осы Жаңатас электростанциясында 2020 жылдың күзінен бастап жұмыс істеймін. Менің жұмысым осы электр құрылғыларына қызмет ету болып табылады. Біздің осы подстанцияда 100 мегаваттық подстанцияда 40 оборудование бар, жаңа ветротурбинан. Соларды уақытылы плановый жұмыс істеп тұрамыз. Біздің қызметіміз сол болып табылады. Қазіргі таңда Азиядағы ең үлкен жобалардың бірі болып саналады.
Wind potential in Kazakhstan could power the entire region's demands 3 times over, and with the country aiming to power 70% of its energy usage with renewables by 2060, that growth Abulgaziev speaks of could be huge. That's why Astana is accepting the experience and funding Chinese companies can offer. China Power International holds a majority stake in the 100-megawatt Zanatash wind power plant, or WPP, while Power China Chengdu Engineering built it in 2020. Since then, the wind farm has grown from 10 wind turbines to 40, producing upwards of 350 million kilowatt-hours of electricity a year, which is alleviating power shortages across the region. The Chinese manufacturing giant Sany are also busy in the Jambili region, constructing a $114 million factory to build the wind turbines locally. This will not only address the logistical challenges of transporting large turbine components, it will also create new jobs and training opportunities locally.
Қытай технологиясы таңғаларлық технология, қазір жалғыз Қазақстанда емес, бұл дүние жүзінде алда келетқан 3 алпауыт мемлекеттердің бірінің технологиясы. Жақсы технологиялар, Қазақстанда жоқ технологияларды әкеліп, жұмыс етіп, бізге үйретіп отыр. Соны рахмет айтамыз енді. Оны да бізді бағындырып, үйренуіміз келеді дальше. Я бізді обучениеден өзімізді өткізіп, арғы 3 ай бізді осы жерде оқытып, сол мамандығымыз, істейтін мамандығымыз бойынша үйретіп, көрсетіп, содан соң жұмысқа алып, жұмыс істеп жатырмыз. Аллаға шүкір, қазір данный момент сол мамандық бойынша 4 жыл жұмыс істеп келе жатырмын.
Kazakhstan is emerging as a key driver in this transformation towards renewable energy across the region, particularly with the use of solar and wind power projects. Kazakhstan is already successfully generating 8% of its electricity from renewable sources, and it's not stopping there.
China is also involved in building up Kazakhstan's thermal energy and hydropower industries. And in a historic move last year, more than 70% of Kazakhs voted in favor of constructing the republic's first nuclear power plant in a further effort to move away from dirty energies. The Kazakh government says it wants to expand the capacity of its 147 renewable energy facilities to around 30 gigawatts by 2035 through the reconstruction of existing power stations and the construction of new ones. And China appears more than ready to help, with Chinese companies such as Universal Energy and Power China continuing to sign million-dollar investment deals to further develop Kazakhstan's energy diversity. Rising power demands around the world present an increasing challenge to regional energy security. Yet with a little support, Kazakhstan's renewable energy potential could very well offer a more sustainable and secure energy future for the region and beyond. Natalie Carney for Assignment Asia in Kazakhstan.
Up next, in Turkmenistan, a new path to progress is being constructed, one paved with pipelines, trade corridors, and strategic partnerships.
Turkmenistan, a hidden gem in Central Asia, rich in history, culture, and natural resources. With the fourth largest natural gas reserves on the planet, the former Soviet Republic maintains key partnerships, most notably with China. These ties date back to the ancient Silk Road, when Chinese and European goods traveled back and forth across lands now known as Turkmenistan, forging a centuries-old corridor of exchange. Today, that spirit of cooperation thrives in a new form, as Chinese technology plays a growing role in Turkmenistan's modernization, from energy infrastructure and telecommunications to agricultural development and transport. A centuries-old connection, now powered by innovation. Turkmenistan's GDP is largely dependent on natural gas. However, in an effort to diversify its economy, the country is also working to build up its agricultural sector with China's support. The challenge is that 70 to 80% of its geography is desert, so arable land is very limited. Therefore, the government has been incentivizing greenhouse farming, such as here in Turkmenistan's Ahal province. For the past 5 years, this greenhouse in the Kaka district, roughly 140 kilometers from the country's capital city, Ashgabat, has been dedicated to planting and cultivating high-quality tomato seedlings.
Наши технологии, у нас работники, агрономы, которые непрерывно проверяют качество наших удобрений, качество воды, потом непосредственно в первую очередь чистоту соблюдаем наши теплицы. И вот так вот мы на протяжении всего сезона постоянно контролируем нашу продукцию, чтобы наш товар непосредственно дошел до наших потребителей экологически чистым и вкусным.
These greenhouses have allowed for a significant growth in the country's agricultural sector, particularly in tomato cultivation, and have positioned Turkmenistan as a key supplier to the regional market. Exports of greenhouse tomatoes to neighboring countries such as Russia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Afghanistan nearly doubled over the past 2 years to reach 149,000 tons in 2024. Part of this success is thanks to the produce arriving fresh to its destination. The Chinese company Yuzumi has been providing farmers and greenhouse owners with high-quality and ergonomic plastic boxes for fruit and vegetable storage and transportation. Yuzumi's high-tech injection modeling machines produce these lightweight boxes that are ideal for Turkmenistan's growing agricultural export sector. In addition, Chinese companies are also introducing advanced agricultural technologies, particularly for Turkmenistan's cotton processing and irrigation systems. Plus, the development of educational and training programs in Turkmenistan is helping to provide the country's agricultural sector with skilled laborers.
Bizim karxanamızda umuman 125 işgar olup, her gün belli vaqtlarda her sektorlara işgarlar doli arasatçılık təmirlik işlərini geçirlər. Önümlər her mövsümləyin yığılır və her mövsümün axırında daşa yurtlara eksport edilir. Eksport edilənlər önüm yaşlıklara qoyulur. Yaşlık karxanadan, yılacıxanadan.
Such as to China. Yet to expand Turkmenistan's access to export markets, China is also supporting the expansion of the country's transport infrastructure through funding and resources needed to build strategic road and railway networks. It's a busy day at Ashgabat's main train station, one of the oldest buildings in the capital. From here, Turkmen rush to get to and from different cities within the country's 5 provinces, known as vilayats, most of them on Chinese-built trains. Such as Batir Kojaniyazov, who works as a hairdresser in Ashgabat.
Oldu Turkmenistan vokzalın belli bir kupe vagonların ne hazır xasam qoy. Turkmenistan'a qoydular vilayetə qatnav yadayları, iş tərtibləri önkü vaxtlarda günü 2-3 reis olsa inni söyleme 5 reisler, 6 reisler bolup duruyor. Bunun devamında. Ne iş katnavları için bir adam atnadyan vagonlar var, birim ürüte import-eksport tavarları taşımak için şehirden vilayetlere katnav tertipleri has oldu.
Approximately 281 Chinese-built diesel locomotives operate in Turkmenistan, handling about 95% of the country's freight and passenger rail traffic. In 2024, the two countries signed a memorandum of understanding to further expand cooperation in the rail sector, following the purchase and delivery of 30 diesel locomotives from China Railway Rolling Stock Corporation, or CRRC, Ziyang. To date, China has provided nearly 475 diesel locomotives to countries across Central Asia, while new railway lines have also been built, allowing for much greater trade and economic cooperation across the region. For more than a decade, China has been Turkmenistan's largest trading partner, with bilateral trade between the two countries reaching $10.5 billion in 2023, primarily driven by natural gas exports, but not limited to.
Туркменские компании продолжают закупать большое количество различного специализированного оборудования и товаров потребления из Китая. В то же время китайские компании продолжают закупать такие товары, как удобрения и текстиль из Туркменистана для дальнейшего производства и использования на своем рынке.
Most of which travel along rail networks.
Одна из причин в том, что сеть железнодорожных маршрутов между нашими странами является очень надежной, позволяет доставлять грузы в срок. Заглядывая вперед, мы видим, что логистические отношения между нашими странами будут только укрепляться, и логистический коридор Туркменистан-Китай будет набирать все большую популярность.
China's encouragement of Turkmenistan's export sector aligns with broader regional projects like the Belt and Road Initiative. At the same time, this support is improving economic opportunities in Turkmenistan, which is boosting the country's overall development. Long defined by its vast deserts and rich gas reserves, Turkmenistan is now redefining itself through cooperation with China, which is helping it build new gateways for new economic opportunities while promoting its global relevance. Where ancient Silk Road routes brought civilizations together, a new path is being constructed, one paved with pipelines, trade corridors, and strategic partnerships. Yet beyond all this lies a deeper transformation, a nation balancing tradition with progress and independence with integration, allowing it to embrace its own untapped potential. Natalie Carney for Assignment Asia.
Up next, in Tajikistan, the Belt and Road Initiative has brought major infrastructure projects, including roadways, bridges, and energy projects, all of which require vast amounts of cement.
It's Independence Day in Tajikistan, 33 years since the country became a republic. With its rich religious Persian heritage, Tajikistan stands unique amongst its relatively secular Central Asian neighbors. Tajikistan is a mountainous and landlocked country that borders China to the east and Afghanistan to the south. Economically, the country has struggled as a republic, relying heavily on remittances and exports of cotton and aluminum. However, as a strategically important partner in China's Belt and Road Initiative, Beijing has been focused on investments that will help lift the country's socioeconomic standing and allow it to expand its export options. It's just after lunch, and engineer Firdevs Hasanov is inspecting one of the proportioning units at the brand new state-of-the-art closed joint stock company CJSC Tajik cement plant, which encompasses an area of 35 hectares on the outskirts of the Tajik capital, Dushanbe. When Dushanbe authorities announced the construction of this new plant, China stepped in to provide the latest equipment and technology, which is helping to revolutionize the industry in Tajikistan.
How was China involved in the building of this plant and the modernization of the cement that's produced here? What technology was used?
تمام تکنولوژی که در کارخانه ما وصل شده است این از جمهوری چین میباشد. جمهوری چین برای تأسیس این کارخانه بسیار یاری خوب کرده است و حالا هم همکاری ما با کارخانه پنبه چین ادامه دارد. روندهای کارخانه ما همش با طور اتوماتیکی گذرانده میشوند سر کرده از انتقال اشیاء خام تا پختن محصولات تیار. در کارخانه در اتاق پولت управления قرار داریم که تمام پروسس ها از طرف همین متخصصان اداره کرده می شوند. در کارخانه ما 636 نفر کارگر کار میکنند که از آنها 342 نفرشان در استحصالات می باشد.
The capacity of this new plant is just over 1 million tons of cement per year and also allows for the production of two types of cement, ordinary Portland cement and sulfate-resistant Portland cement, which Faruk says no other plant in the country can do. Cement is one of the world's most polluting industries, and while the Tajik cement plant still uses coal as its main fuel source, China's modernization, featuring advanced environmental and energy-saving technology, has helped replace the harmful pollutants that was being emitted by the old factory. As part of China's Belt and Road Initiative, private Chinese companies have been modernizing or building factories across Tajikistan, transforming the country from a cement importer to an active exporter and opening up new markets for Tajik cement abroad. In 2013, the country produced roughly 30,000 tons. Today, according to Tajik government figures, there are 15 cement plants operating in the country with a total capacity of 5.5 million tons. Some 10% of that is sold to other countries, such as Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, and Kyrgyzstan. And now this new factory will allow for significantly more growth in the coming years. Tajikistan's largest industrial enterprise, the state-owned Telco aluminum plant, is also set to be getting a Chinese makeover. Early in 2024, officials from both countries signed a cooperation deal that will see China help Tajikistan complete some major infrastructure projects.
In addition to industry, China has also been a major investor in Tajikistan's energy sector. Since the country's independence in 1991 from the Soviet Union, the Ministry of Energy and Water Resources says the country has implemented 35 different energy projects with financial assistance from China of more than $5 billion.
Gandzhalov Zanidin, his wife, their 3 children and 3 grandchildren live in the small city of Sarband in southern Tajikistan.
Я работаю на ГЭСе около 27 лет. Из дежурного инженера поднялся на начальник сменной станции, потом начальник диспетчерской службы.
Just like the cement plant in Dushanbe, the Sarband HPP has also received a multi-million US dollar renovation, which has improved efficiency and livelihoods. The Sarband HPP, located on the Vakish River, went into full operation in 1966 with an initial design capacity of 210 megawatts. But after years of long-term use, most of the equipment has worn out. Energy demands have also increased, so in 2013, the Tajik government secured a $136 million US dollar grant from the Asian Development Bank to renovate the plant, increasing production capacity and modernizing the operational equipment. No longer are local communities facing power outages and limited water supplies. The upgraded plant is also able to help with regional agriculture, such as cotton, which many here rely on.
Практически у нас наша станция основном не только занимается выработкой электроэнергии, но у нас регулировка водного режима стала проще и обеспечение водой. У нас станция также задействована в ирригационное обеспечение водой Вахской долины.
Да, действительно. Вот как вы видите, вот мы все семьей здесь присутствуем. Улучшение, да, действительно, вот мои внуки, они все счастливы, все обеспечены, поэтому мы не жалуемся на жизнь. Очень хорошо стало.
Currently, hydropower stations generate around 98% of Tajikistan's electricity, positioning the country as the sixth largest producer of green energy worldwide. However, the country's water resource potential could produce an estimated 527 billion kilowatt hours of electricity annual, but only 16 to 17 billion of that is being tapped into. Here again, China wants to help Tajikistan benefit from this rich resource. Some 200 kilometers down the Vaksh River, construction teams have been working to build the Rogan Dam, one of the world's most ambitious hydropower projects, and where cement from the Tajik cement plant in Dushanbe is being used. Slated to be the highest dam on the planet at 335 meters, once complete, it will transform Tajikistan's energy landscape by nearly doubling domestic electricity output. With a total capacity of 3,600 megawatts, more than 13 times the capacity of the renovated Sarband HPP. Yet with an estimated cost of close to $10 billion, Chinese banks and investment institutions are helping to supplement the Tajik government's efforts to finance the dam. At the same time, Chinese technical assistance and engineering expertise are also providing specialized support for this complex project, just like they did for the Sarpan HPP.
Наши специалисты для обучения привлекались на территории Китайской Народной Республики. 27 человек из персонала, эксплуатирующего персонала, прошли обучение в китайских заводах и также обучение на территории на действующем оборудовании. Считаю, что это благотворно и положительно влияет на дальнейшую эксплуатацию станции. И я надеюсь, что в дальнейшем мы будем дальше сотрудничать с китайскими специалистами.
In July 2024, Chinese President Xi Jinping quite aptly said China and Tajikistan are connected by mountains and rivers, independent like lips and teeth, and sharing a common destiny.
Китайский народ очень трудолюбивый народ. Мы здесь почувствовали и сами увидели своими глазами, как они работали, организованно. Все это мы уже хорошими друзьями нашли вот рядом с ними. Есть хорошие люди, очень хорошие специалисты.
China's Belt and Road Initiative has spurred major investment and infrastructure development across Tajikistan, including roadways, bridges, and energy projects, all of which require vast amounts of cement. This has effectively contributed to improving vital infrastructure, creating jobs, and fostering socioeconomic growth in Central Asia's poorest nation, and can serve as an example of how China's economic presence is shaping industries that are critical for regional development. Natalie Carney for Assignment Asia in Tajikistan.
Follow us on social media to contribute story ideas and share your thoughts.